Hello, students. Welcome back to our unit Nature's Plenty. Let's start with a small poem. Nature is everywhere. Nature is everywhere. Nature is everywhere you go. Everything that lives and grows is nature. Animals, big and small. Nature is plants that grow so tall. Nature is beautiful in every way, wonderful, exciting, and needs our care. So listen, learn, and do your part to keep nature beautiful forever. Nature is seen everywhere. Wherever you go, nature is there. Every living being, whether it may be big or small, that lives and grows is nature. The plants that grow very tall is also part of nature. Nature is beautiful, wonderful, and exciting in every way, but it needs our care. How do we take care of nature? By conserving the natural resources. Instead of doing deforestation, do afforestation by following 3 R's, that is, reduce, reuse, and recycle. So let's listen to nature, do learn good lessons from it. We should do our best to keep our nature beautiful forever. Did you notice the name of the poet in our previous slide? Super Ranger Amanda wrote that poem. Amanda was a girl who loved animals and being outdoors. She loved nature and did whatever she could to preserve and protect all living things. She encouraged her neighbors to work together and make a real difference for the plants and the animals in their community. She was an active member of Earth Rangers. Earth Rangers is the kids' conservation organization dedicated to educating children and their families about biodiversity, inspiring them to adopt sustainable behaviors and empowering them to become directly involved in protecting animals and their habitats. Amanda was a girl who loved nature and all living things. She influenced others to make a real difference for the plants and the animals in their community. She supported the activities of Earth Rangers. Earth Rangers is a conservation organization for kids. It educates children and their families about the variety of plant and animal life in the world or in a particular habitat. Earth Rangers inspires the kids and their families to adopt sustainable behaviors, which means a behavior that includes our values, beliefs, sense of responsibility, and deliberate actions focused to providing well-being of all living beings. Finally, the kids and their families are empowered to become directly involved in protecting animals and their habitats. We saw some of the nature activists and their mission when we started our lesson, right? Let's go back to our lesson and see how much distance our protagonist has covered to reach the river. Before that, let's see the main points of our story. The boy's intention to reach the river. The boy meets a woodcutter. The boy meets a girl. The boy meets a village boy. The boy feels discouraged. The boy overcomes its obstacles. The boy reaches the river. The boy gets first-hand experience from the river. Students, please take page number 11 of your lesson, How Far is the River? Presently, he saw another boy ahead of him, driving a few gourds down the path. How far is the river? He asked. The village boy smiled in a friendly way and said, Oh, not far, just round the next hill and straight down. The boy, feeling hungry, unwrapped his loaf of bread and broke it in halves, offering one portion to the village boy. They sat on the hillside and ate in silence. When they had finished, they walked on together and began talking and talking. The boy did not notice the smarting of his feet and the heat of the sun and the distance he had covered and the distance he had yet to cover. But after some time, his companion had to diverge along another path, and the boy was once more on his own. Soon he saw another boy in front of him. He was driving some goats down the path. The boy asked the village boy how far was the river. The village boy was a good or loving person. He smiled at him in a friendly way and answered the river was not far away. The boy had to go around the next hill and go straight down. The boy was hungry, so he opened his loaf of bread. He broke it in halves and offered one portion to the village boy. Both of them sat on the hillside and ate in silence. Both of the boys might be very hungry. That's why, without talking any word, they ate their food. After finishing their food, they continued their walking. They kept on talking on the way. The boy enjoyed the company of the village boy. So he did not notice the feeling of a sharp stinging pain of his feet, the heat of the sun, the distance he had covered, and the distance he had to cover further. But after some time, his friend who accompanied with him had to go another direction along another path. Once again our boy became lonely. He missed the village boy. He could not be seen. His own home was also hidden from view by the side of the mountain. The river was not in sight either. He began to feel discouraged. He was sorry he had finished the bread. He might want it later. He was determined to see the river. He walked on along the hot, dusty, stony path, past mud huts and terrace fields, until there were no more fields or huts, only forest and sun and loneliness. Now there was no man or any sign of man's influence, only trees and rocks and bramble and flowers. Only silence. The silence was impressive and a little frightening. It was different from the silence of a room or street. It was the silence of space, of the unknown, the silence of God. Then, as the boy rounded a sharp bend, the silence broke into sound. A sudden roaring sound, the sound of the river. Far down in the valley, the river tumbled over rocks. The boy gasped and began to run. He slipped and stumbled, but still he ran. Then he was ankle deep in the painfully cold mountain water, and the water was blue and white and wonderful. The boy missed the company of the village boy. He could not see the village boy. The boy was unable to see his own home also, because the side of the mountain hid it. His destination, that is, the river, was also out of sight. He felt discouraged. He was sad that the bread was over. He might want it later. He felt like he should have kept the bread in order to satiate his hunger. If we undertake any tedious task or mission, we may be discouraged in between. We feel like giving up our dreams and efforts and going back because our destination is far away. We like to have companions with us in order to share our feelings and get support. When we lose our companions, we feel like we are deprived of courage, confidence, or enthusiasm. We feel like we are lost in the world. The boy in our story also felt like that when he missed his companion. He got strong determination to see the river. He walked continuously along the hot, dusty, stony path, past mud huts and flat-top fields. There were no more fields or huts seen till that time, other than forest, sun, and loneliness. When he went further, he could not find any man or any sign of man's influence. He could see only trees, rocks, bramble, and flowers. Bramble is a thorny bush or shrub. He felt what is called silence. The silence was greatly acceptable, but it was scaring. It was not same as the silence of a room or street, but it was entirely different from it. The boy felt like it was the serenity of space, of the unknown world, the serenity in the presence of God. Then the boy went around a sharp curve. The silence broke into a sudden roaring sound of the river. He could see the river, which was rolling over rocks far down in the valley. The boy caught his breath audibly and started running fast in order to reach the river. He slipped and lost his balance. He was about to fall, but still he ran. He reached his destination. He made his feet wet. He was ankle deep in the river water. As it was the mountain water, it was very cold. He described it as painfully cold mountain water. The boy said the water was blue, white, and wonderful. Actually, the boy wanted to get the first-hand experience from the river. The boy's wish to touch the water of the river and know it personally was fulfilled. He accomplished his mission. Thank you, students.